In 2018, I was sitting around thinking, how do I turn this digital storytelling apparatus to an organization? We ourselves were having conversations regarding what it looked like to go into Black spaces and be queer, and also what it looked like to go in queer spaces and be Black. And there was no intersection that fully embraced us, no matter how many times we went into these spaces. And so we had to create that. And it's been an amazing journey since 2021. We got our first major grant, which was from AIDS United. It was $300,000 over 18 months. And that allowed us to bring on our first 2 team members, which is Jordan and Joelle.
And that was a life changer for me. I've worked at organizations and worked at jobs before where I may give an input, but it was never included in the final project, or my thoughts were used and my input was used, but I wasn't in that space. And so I think this was the first time where it was like, oh, wait, I can actually impact change. I can actually make a difference in community.
We literally are in spaces with communities, not just treating them as a number, but really being in communities that we look, live, and love like. And so for me, the experience of being a part of an organization, a team that not only valued community, but saw community as more than a number, for me was powerful. And I think it speaks to the amazing work that we continue to do.
When we talk about HIV, when we talk about it in the Black community, there has been a hyper focus on how risky someone is, and that language is very problematic. All it's doing is making HIV become more stigmatized and more of where individuals don't want to get tested. We developed a program by the name of POWER, which is Positives, Organizing, Wellness, and Resilience. Our first iteration of the POWER program had individuals exclusively living with HIV, and it was very powerful and very good for them to go through that program. But what we found out was they had to disclose their status because it was exclusively for individuals living with HIV. So when we did the second iteration of it, what we did was really focus in on including everyone into the space, people who are living with HIV and those who are not living with HIV. Because what we found was individuals had more space to have the autonomy to share their status if they want to share it, but also individuals who are not living with HIV got to learn how they can position themselves in a way to help the support as an ally, but also take care of their health status as well.
I believe that the programs that we are launching also have a space for everyone. And now we have a space for the Black queer woman, right? The Black woman. So we are launching programs that provide safe and brave spaces for Black women to come and talk about all things, whether it be health, wellness, sexual, intimacy, relationships, all of that. When they look at the Normal Anomaly, they should say, hey, such and such represents me. Hey, such and such represents me. Now they can say, hey, Shelly represents me.
A lot of these self-imposed restrictions, not just the societal, but the self-imposed restrictions are because we don't have the ability to dream. But the Normal Anomaly is here. We are here with an incredible team, incredible power, and it didn't come from the Bauer School of Business. It came from our heart, it came from our mind, it came from our thoughts, it came from our flaws and our faults and our mess ups. And so the idea behind Project Liberate was to do that. And we didn't know when we were thinking about Project Liberate that it would go through years. We also didn't know that when we were thinking about Project Liberate that it would expand across the South. We're currently working on an implementation in 5 cities in the South with Project Liberate. What we did know is that we had to create a culture that gave people the ability to dream and the ability to hope.
Transgender Ally Collective, which is a program that uplifts and empowers Black trans women, started out as a response to the continuous murders of Black trans women. And really, Ian's question of how do we protect Black trans women? How can we be an ally and an advocate and an accomplice and really address this epidemic of violence? But it's really showing Black trans women the possibility models of what can be. It's really showing Black trans women that you can have joy and hope in the midst of sorrow and pain and doom and gloom. And that's really what Transgender Ally Collective is about. It's about curating and co-creating this space that is led by community, that is for community, where they in turn create what hope and joy looks like for them.
I believe in the conceptualization of tithing. I think tithing is a powerful tool for wealth. I think when you give in good soil to good people for a good cause, it is not necessarily about the wealth of your pockets, but it's the wealth of your conscience, it's the wealth of your heart, it's the wealth of your community. You know, when I think about the disparities that Black queer people face, 34% of Black trans women making under $10,000 a year, the projection that 1 in 2 Black gay men will contract HIV in their lifetime. When we think about 40% of homeless youth are LGBT. When we think about those disparities, I have so much hope because I needed, as a person that could have contracted HIV, as a person who did make under $10,000 a year, and as a formerly homeless youth, I was searching for a space and a place and programs that would give me not just tools and skill sets, but just like the ability to have hope and a dream. So I said this in a speech recently, and I will repeat it, that your fears, your tears, and your past water the ground that the next generation will be birthed from. And the flowers that arise will depend on the seeds that you sow.